What's up guys, this is Vincent, and in this class we're going to bring our attention to two pike variations, the frog and the straddle. This workout is appropriate for both beginners and improvers, so if you're still working with the ball, that's absolutely fine. We're going to have drills just for you, and if you are freestanding or are trying to go from the ball to freestanding and work on those pike variations, this is also going to be relevant to you. If you're watching this on YouTube, I invite you to stop the video now and click on the link in the description to get access to the free warm-up section, and you will see as well the big library of tutorials we have. You can decide to become a member and have access to all that, including today's full tutorial. So I'm going to assume you all prepped, all warmed up. If you are not, check the section dedicated to that. You have a wealth of options to choose from. We are then going to take it chest to the wall. And what we're trying to prime ourselves with here is shoulder flexion. Shoulder flexion is absolutely important when it comes to pike variations, because if your shoulders are not fully open, if you haven't flexed those shoulders as much as you can, you're gonna end up in a position in which both the pelvis and both legs are before the vertical axis, and you absolutely need something after the vertical axis. Otherwise, as you can tell, the weight of your pelvis and your legs is going to drag you down to the floor, and if you're not strong enough to hold those planche variations, you will invariably come back down. But even if you're strong enough, you may want to refine the alignment here to make it a bit more effortless. Chest to the wall, I want to see you aligning your shoulders over the center of your hands so that your hands are nice and anchored on the floor. We are going to flex the shoulders to bring our torso parallel to the wall behind us, as if your torso was looking directly at the wall behind you, as if your sternum was looking at the wall behind you. From that position, we may, especially if you have closed shoulders, we may add an interior pelvic tilt, that is sticking your butt out as if you were sitting on a chair behind you, and hold the shape with as much body silence as possible for 15 to 30 seconds. If you are a bit more advanced, from this position, we are going to keep sticking that butt out until the feet start sliding down, until they are ready to take off that wall. Stay a few seconds there thanks to your finger pushing, and then come back to the wall. From there, we have everything we need to transition into a frog or a straddle. The pelvis position is very similar. We are going to straddle the legs apart from each other for the straddle and bend the knees for the frog. You should feel that those three positions are very close cousins to each other. Your mission as you transition from a feet together position into either the straddle or the frog is to keep as much weight on your hands as possible, so avoid going into and out of the wall, avoid any weight transfer from your feet to your hands. You want to keep your hands anchored on the floor and your feet as light as possible against that wall. Once you have reached the position, same thing. If you're a beginner, hold it there for 10, 15, maybe 30 seconds with your feet as long as possible while staying safe against that wall. If you're a bit more advanced, try to take off, push on your fingers, hold a bit there, come back on the wall. As usual, our method to train handstands is all about efficiency. And so, from my experience, we observe that people either tend to prefer the frog or the straddle. If you're not quite sure if this is still new to you, you may want to try both and keep practicing both until one clearly stands out. But once you have discovered which one works better for you, I advise that you stay with them, because again, they're very close cousins, and instead of scattering your attention on different shapes, try to stick to the thing that seems to work for you, and from there, with a solid foundation, it will be easy for you to learn the shapes that are very close to it. Now, for the more advanced students amongst you, I need you to be able to transition from a feet together position into either a straddle or a frog without interrupting the journey of the foot or the feet on the wall all the way up until they are off the wall. What we tend to do is to stop whenever we encounter a hurdle and then take a bit too much time at the point at which our feet are about to take off from the wall. And that kind of feeds into the dependency that we have with the wall and makes it harder for us to do that without the wall. What I need to see, while you can take as much time as you need, as in while this can be as slow as you want, is a continuous journey all the way up until you take off from that wall. It can be slow-paced or fast-paced, but it has to be continuous. Now let's take things back to the wall, as in kicking up against the wall. And I know this is the funnier part. I usually advise my students when they practice at home to always warm up first, of course, but then start with the hard stuff, which is the chest to the wall, because the chest to the wall drills are so unforgiving and they teach you better technique than back to the wall. And the idea is that you want to understand what you're supposed to be doing chest to the wall and then try to replicate that back to the wall and then eventually take that without the wall. All right, YouTube, that is it for today. I hope you enjoyed that. If you want the rest of the session, if you want the rest of this tutorial and see what we can do in terms of floating, in terms of shapes, back to the wall, then click on the link in the description and you will have access to it all. Thank you very much. Happy Christmas and see you soon.